The handheld console market is spicing up. MSI has showed off their Dragon Team GeForce RTX 40 AI-generated GPU designs. Intel has confirmed their Lunar Lake naming scheme. And lastly, Intel Arrow Lake as desktop CPU will be launching very soon. Okay, so firstly we have the handheld market getting really interesting now. In the Computex we get to see multiple of them. And now we're going to talk about some of them. Basically, ZOTAC Zone is coming really soon with their ZOTAC handheld AMOLED screen console here, which is quite interesting here. Now ZOTAC is getting into this market just like the MSI and Asus. So as you can see, this particular console literally looks like, well, the existing ones we already know, Asus ROG Ally and MSI. Well, MSI Claw does look a bit different here, but as we can see here, Zone looks quite similar to Asus ROG Ally. So yeah, this particular model from Zone, which is from ZOTAC, is looking promising. And before getting into the specs, let's look into more of this design. As you can see, it basically looks like the same as the Asus ROG Ally or even Steam Deck. As for the specs here, we have these informations coming from Oakcast Gamer, and as you can see, we have the specs, which is the AMD Ryzen 7 8840U, not the 7840U, basically the upgraded, the latest 8840U. So that's pretty neat. A 7-inch 1080p AMOLED display, 16GB of LPDDR5X RAM, coming with the Hall effect joystick or trigger, and these joystick looks like Gillakit, which is also a controller maker. If you haven't seen the Gillakit controller, I have a review about that, so you can check it out. The Gillakit King Kong 2. Anyway, we have dual trackpads and USB 4 support. As for the battery, it's coming with 48 watt-hour battery pack. So yeah, not bad. So as you can clearly tell, this particular model, I feel like 1080p AMOLED display is looking good. The back has better ventilation, I think, because you know it will heat up obviously, and ventilation does really help. I really like the back side of it because that really helps with the airflow. Not much I can say about the grip design and anything else because you know you need to try it yourself to know it. Hopefully the reviews will be coming out soon. We also have ADATA launching their XPG Nia handheld console here, and as you can see here, this one looks kind of different here. The design aspect is a bit different, and also you can clearly tell the screen comes out, which is, I believe, is the most different one here among all these consoles. But what is the point of having such, you know, screen coming out, which is quite interesting, isn't it? It doesn't really do anything else rather than having the screen just pop up, which is an interesting design change. And yeah, there's a whole demo here, basically showing the gameplay running and stuff like that. You can check it out in the Retro Handhelds Twitter page. So yeah, ZOTAC Zone and ADATA XPG Nia are looking pretty interesting. So this is the whole lineup we're looking at from Computex. Basically, ADATA XPG Nia, MSI Claw 8 AI Plus, which we've already seen before. It's just that they're gonna be launching it later on the road because we already have MSI Claw. So I don't think they're planning to launch MSI Claw 8 AI Plus right now, probably later on the line. And then ZOTAC Zone and Asus ROG Ally X. So clearly in these models, the ADATA XPG Nia and ZOTAC Zone are utilizing the Ryzen 7 8840U, basically the latest one, the Z1 Extreme processor. Same goes for the Asus ROG Ally X. They are also using the Ryzen Z1 Extreme, the latest Ryzen 7 8840U. The previous non-Ally, however, is not using that, so I'm guessing that is the difference we're looking at here. As for the pricing, that will be the main deciding factor of which one you should go for, because XPG Nia has a rumor pricing of under $600. About ZOTAC Zone and Asus ROG Ally X is still unknown, similar to MSI Claw, so we'll see about that. And next up, with MSI has done something pretty weird thing. Wasn't really necessary, but I guess you can do that. They basically used AI generated images, or maybe basically the layouts, and 3D printed them, and as you can see, they have achieved these kind of designs, which is kind of not necessary, and I'll tell you why. Because I mean, the design looks interesting. It looks like a dragon face, looks pretty cool, right? And we also have this particular design here, which is, yeah, basically focusing on dragon. These are basically AI designed, so they just 3D printed them and put them on top of the GPU, or I should say the bottom of the GPU, because you know in your PC this part goes under. So yeah, what's the point of adding it if it goes under? Unless you use a riser cable to install it vertically, then that's different, and that's the way you should do it if you really want to go for this particular display. And of course, they also showcase their Supreme X GPU and other RTX 4070 Ti Shadow. We also have this particular design here, which is again a silver look to dragon. But the reason why I'm saying these are pointless design is because if you look closely here, this particular design is not a big factor because you know it's not blocking the fans. However, if you look into this one, the whole fan is blocked. So yeah, the airflow is not gonna be that great, you know, because you're blocking the fan with a dragon symbol, which isn't really necessary, is it? And also they showcased the vapor chamber for the supercard, and I really like this particular design here because it looks really like minimalistic and aesthetical. But yeah, in general, these designs, like, it's quite unnecessary and pointless because it blocks the airflow. Like this particular design have 3 fan design, but only 1 fan is completely exposed, others are completely blocked. So this doesn't really help the airflow, does it? And next up we have some confirmation for Intel Lunar Lake processors going with the naming scheme of Core Ultra 200V. So this particular screenshot has been leaked basically, and you can already tell that it has the same naming scheme. If you look closely here, it says Intel Core TM Ultra 7 268V 2.2 GHz. Basically we are looking at another particular CPU model, which is the Intel Core Ultra 7 268V. I'm guessing that will be replacing the i7 naming scheme for the Lunar Lake processor here. Also, it is coming with Xe2 cores, 8 Xe2 cores specifically, as you can already see here in this particular image here, which has that GPU, which is the Intel Arc graphics, and the Intel AI Boost, which is the NPU they're utilizing here. So basically we're looking at this kind of spec list for the Intel Core Ultra 7 268V, which is the 4-core performance and 4-core efficiency and 8 threads, of course, max clock at 5 GHz, utilizing 8 Xe2 cores, and NPU would be NPU 4.0, packing with 32 GB of memory. And previously we also got some leaks about the Core Ultra 5 238V and 234V, and they also have the same core design, as you can already tell. But in terms of GPU, we're looking at 7 Xe2 cores, and of course the memory pack also varies, and probably the speed will also vary, otherwise that doesn't make sense to have a different naming scheme, right? So we shall see. Also, we get to see the Lunar Lake Lion Cove and Skymon CPU cores and XP2 GPU, just like I mentioned already. So that's the memory package we can see here, which is up to 32 GB, which I've already mentioned, with 2 ranks, support for LPDDR5X DRAM, and up to 8.5 GB transfer per second per chip. So that's the whole construction design, as you can see here, which is the whole CPU. As you can see, these are the packages, memory compute tile, which is on top of the base tile. With that, it has the platform controller tile and of course stiffener and foveros. As for the Lion Cove performance core, that will be the performance core of the Lion Core of the Lunar Lake processors, we can see up to 14% IPC gain compared to the Redwood Cove in Meteor Lake, which I can already tell that Meteor Lake was just a filler architecture, as this particular architecture looks more promising. As for the Skymon, comparing with the Crestmont in Meteor Lake, we get to see 1.68 times performance increase. So that's not bad, not twice, but close to twice. As you can see, the performance per watt, we can clearly tell a 2.9 times performance increase with 1/3 of the power being utilized. So that's not bad. As for the Xe2 GPU, they're utilizing the Intel Arc, so obviously it's gonna be much better than the previous Xe1, clearly. Also for Xe2 GPU, they're utilizing up to 8 Xe2 cores, I should be correct about that, which is 1.5 times better versus the Meteor Lake GPU Xe1, and up to 67 TOPS. They're also including 8 larger ray tracing units. So for ray tracing, of course, in APU it's not really a big thing, but it's just there for filler, I guess. Of course, they're also introducing the NPU, so there you have it, which is up to 48 TOPS. So overall, when you include the CPU, NPU, and GPU, we have 120 platform TOPS. So overall, Lunar Lake is looking pretty good compared to Meteor Lake, obviously, because as I said already, Meteor Lake was a filler with 14% IPC gain. Lunar Lake might dominate here. Also, don't forget to subscribe because we will have more information later down the line. And of course, lastly, we have the Intel Core Ultra 200 Arrow Lake as desktop CPU release, and probably it will be launching in October. So basically, we already know Lunar Lake and Arrow Lake will both be launching at the same time. Well, not really the same time, but in the same time frame, which will be the end of 2024. So according to WCC After, here we have the information, which is the Intel Arrow Lake desktop CPUs are expected to hit retail shelves in October, followed by proper unveiling at the next ON event, which is planned for September. So on September, we will have another event, and at that time, Intel CEO Pat Gelsinger will be launching this particular CPUs, and probably they will be launching both the Intel Arrow Lake and Lunar Lake. We'll see about that. So we've already seen the whole architecture here, but we get to see more specs lineup, which is also rumored, by the way, which is the Intel Core Ultra 9285K, the flagship, utilizing Lion Cove and Skymon architecture for performance and efficiency cores, respectively, will include 24 cores and 24 threads. Now the question is, how many Lion Cove or Skymon cores are there, which is still unknown, which is still quite a weird number here, 24 threads. So it's quite interesting how they're adding up to that. So we'll see about that. As for clocks, it's going up to 5.5 GHz. There was a leak about it previously, so they're sticking with that information with an ultra cache of 36 megabytes, and TDP 125 is in question mark here. here because it can go higher. As we know, Intel, it can go higher. As for the Core Ultra 7 265K, going 2020 in terms of cores and threads, the cache goes down to 33 megabytes, and for Ultra 5 245K, it's goes down to 1414 as for cores and threads. The Ultra cache goes down to 24 megabytes, so yeah, that kind of makes sense. Now we also have the Ultra 9 275 non-K and 255 and 240 non-Ks, basically meaning that they're not going to be overclockable because, you know, K stands for overclocking. So yeah, and also they're going to be lower tier TDP models, so 65 watts should be the expected, but knowing Intel, it can go higher. So yeah, what do you think? Will Intel Arrow Lake will be able to dominate compared to the latest 9000 series from Ryzen? That is a good question because, you know, competition comes first, and of course the pricing, that we'll see about that because we still don't know about the Ryzen 9000 series pricing here. So yeah, we'll see.